What do we know about this incident, and were there any injuries to the orca or the people involved?
So the official position in Spain is that, so this is the eldest 60-year-old female called Toni, fondly known as La Abuela. And it looks like she has sustained a shotgun blast to her dorsal fin. And we've managed to get pictures of this where you can clearly see the pellet marks.
You see the images there on screen now.
Yeah. And it is particularly worrying because sometimes shotgun, apart from the obvious damage it does to the animal, shotgun pellets can sometimes be made of lead. And of course, if these have penetrated into this elderly female, and it can cause blood sepsis within the animal, or she could get an infection from the wound itself, which could lead to her mortality. Now, the Iberian orca is critically endangered, and there are less than 40 individuals left in the subpopulation. Why is this important? Because just like with elephants and other mammals, the elderly females are the ones that keep the family together. And in this family unit, what we have is this elderly female. We've got a number of children, we've got a number of grandchildren, and we've even got an adopted male that has come into this family unit because of this elderly female. So if she dies, it's not just the reproductive output that we lose, we also lose that family cohesion, which could be really devastating.
And I mean, you were quoted there in the intro about you saying more needs to be done. What can be done to protect this very critically endangered species?
So I think we've got two forces at play here. One is the orca in its natural environment, hunting for food. And then we've got us entering that environment, taking our expensive toys and our sailboats and wanting to enjoy that environment as well. And there is a bit of a clash going on here. So we came up with the app Orcinus back in the day in order to try and separate orca from man. Why? Because in the same way as you wouldn't go out in a force 8 storm, I think it's important that we start to recognize that if the orcas are around, we shouldn't be going out in sailboats because we're just inviting trouble.
So is it a case of just trying to avoid them if possible? I mean, do seafarers know what to do when they see an orca? Can they observe them from a certain distance? Should they not engage?
So if you're on a sailboat, it's a particular problem. If you're on a motorboat, it's not, because what they're going for is the rudder. And take into account that this is play. They're seeing the rudder of the boat, and what they're doing is they're going up and they're breaking it. It tends to be the younger individuals of the population that are doing this rather than the older ones. But of course, these boats are made out of fiberglass. And we've got this a metal pole to the rudder, and if this massive animal pushes on it, it cracks open the hull, and it could potentially sink the boats. From 500 incidents, there have been 250 where damage has actually been caused to the boat, and of those, 4 were sunk. So in the grand scheme of things, I appreciate that if you're a sailor on one of those boats, it's a very scary place to be. But at the same time, this is their environment and we should be respecting it.
And this kind of story has garnered a lot of international press in general. We keep hearing about these incidents.
Correct.
Is this a new behavior that we're seeing from orcas about, essentially attacking vessels, or are they just passing by?
So orcas they're highly intelligent, and similar to us, we go through phases where we have fads, fidget spinners, for example. In parts of Canada, these orcas have taken to catching salmon and wearing salmon on their head as like a hat. And it just so happens that here, the fad happens to be to play with the rudders of the boats, which is, very inconvenient for us. But we need to recognize, again, that this is something that can pass. And the more boats are out there, the more we're going to encourage this behavior.
I'm sure we can talk more about this, but we'll keep an eye on that investigation in Spain. And I'm sure we'll hear from you then as well, Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.